Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts, and be sure to follow me on socials at MLU Pod. You can also support My Little Underground for as little as $1 a month. Link in the description and over at peteraradio.com. Today on the show we have Biasby, also known as Julian Maultsby, the bass player of local Long Island group Medicine Fish. He has a solo single out, Warzone, and we're going to talk about Medicine Fish's direct-to-vinyl live sessions. Very excited about that. Some bass players he admires, our shared love of Queens of the Stone Age, and so much more right here on My Little Underground. Julian, welcome to My Little Underground. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to have like another Medicine Fish on here, because I've had John Astronaut Velser on a bunch of times, and I'm glad we finally have, because I've always wanted to have you on, but I just wanted to, I want it to be right. I want us to have, not like we wouldn't have anything to talk about, but I want to be able to, talk to you when you have your own shit popping, which you do, which is incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So I want to talk about those Medicine Fish direct-to-vinyl sessions, the 7 inches you guys got coming out that is going to benefit the Native American Heritage Association. So how did this all come about?
Well, I came across Least of All Studios like a couple of weeks before they reached out to us about doing it, and like I was a little reluctant on going forward with it at first, but then I saw a female artist, Leah Woods. She's amazing. She started doing it, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess it must be pretty legit. And they have a bunch of other people, other artists that are doing it too, and like it ended up being like we have a good amount of people pre-ordering our stuff. Really excited for it. Really excited for it. It's I was really happy, excuse me, that we got asked and we went forward with it, because it's going for a good cause, and that's what I was going for with my first with Warzone as well. Like we're all doing this out of love. At the end of the day, we do music out of love, and we want to come from a place of goodness. So that's what the main goal of doing this was. And also we're trying to push a new song that we're gonna be releasing soon.
And that single's also going to be on vinyl, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. That single is called On the Past. It's one of the options that you can choose, and we last night we had our practice, and we got a couple of we got a flick of it, so we're gonna be posting that within the week to push that song out more, and then hopefully within the next month or two we'll be able to release that as a single.
So when you guys are having your, rehearsals, your famous rehearsals that I've been, honored to be a guest at, are you guys discussing vinyl in the future?
Not really. It was just about this particular thing. Like we don't really know where we could do that at. I know our good friends Rucksuck, they did that, so I guess that would probably be our first in if we ever do that. Like maybe at some point we'll, like for our next album or next live album, whichever one comes up, we'll probably discuss it a little bit more now that we're doing this.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked you this. I might have, but what bass players have you studied over the years and have currently been listening to?
Oh man, well, that's the thing that I always come come back to myself trying to figure out. Like I'd never really looked at bassists really ever like to model my play after. It's what comes out for me. Like I'm a product of all of my influences, to be very honest. Like Chris Squire, Paul McCartney. Um, I would say Jacko, but not really. Jacko was the first person that I really like got introduced to as like a bass player, and every bassist loves Jacko. If you don't love Jacko and you're a bassist, you're wildin'. But um, yeah, it's like I said, I don't really have a select style. I just do what feels right to me, and like I'm still learning every day and still catching up on a couple of things. Like to this day, like I'm still listening to these influences and learning a little bit more from them. There's a bunch more than Chris Squire and Paul McCartney. I can't uh, name them at the moment. Like I can say Victor Wooten, but because I went to his base camp in like 2 years ago, 3 years ago in Berkeley. Like my mom sent me up there for my birthday, and that was really the turning point for me. I think like I was okay before, but I was always a little reluctant on expressing myself more. I didn't have that confidence. And then when I went to that place and I was like, "Oh, I can hold my own." I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
When I stopped caring, I just it just opened like when you stop caring, when you stop giving a shit like at all, you just the worlds open up. The universe really opens up.
Yeah, I like seeing you guys practice and play live. You can run the gamut when you're playing bass. You can go full on Bad Brains or you can go on full on Whalers. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But I think you just adapt to because you guys are very jam and you're very loose and improvisational. So you kind of just go where it feels right. That's what I take from it when I see you
Mhm.
play.
Exactly. And it's about so it's less about players to me and more about genre and groove. To
Yes.
me. Like I I'll it the if I feel like busting out like a reggae type groove, reggae funk type groove, it just happens and then me and Ryan just link up and then it just becomes that. And John does his thing over everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. Rhythm section is very important.
A
Very, very
rhythm
important.
section
That's
is
what
the
I pay
heart,
attention
man.
to the most. Yeah.
It's the heart. It's the heart and soul of any group, you know? Like as long as if John's always been the person to just keep playing and keep playing and keep playing and he's able to adapt to anything that I've ever always thrown at him, which is just the a something to say about how good of a musician he is. Like no matter where like I throw him curveballs sometimes and he's still able to hit on it and it's just like just keep doing it, man. Like and Ryan
Yeah,
has
he's a great bass player in his own right. I don't think
yeah,
he gives himself enough credit in that regard.
he does. He is like listening to all those Astronato records it's all him, man. Like he didn't ask me for any help. He didn't ask anyone for any help, and he's a madman. He really is.
Yeah, I
Like
think that should have been his genre definer in Bandcamp, just Madman.
yeah.
That's it.
Ah,
That's all. But Warzone, incredible stuff.
thank you.
And I know you've been working on. We've been talking about you doing solo material for quite a while, and you've been with Medicine Fish almost 10 years at this point.
Yeah, it'll be
Why
10
do you
years
think? Why do you think now, this year, is the most is the time that you're finally ready to release your own solo material?
because it happened. It just happened. Like I had Warzone written for 2 3 years, and like I I didn't I just didn't record it, I had one last year I had when we played at Sip This, like our last two-nighter at Sip This and I played me and it was I think it was me on Friday night and then Jimmy on Saturday night to open up the sets. Like that was the first time I had ever played it in in public at all. Like it was just to random people, to my ex, to a couple of friends, if that, because I was always searching for that third verse, and I finally got that third verse that year, and after that, it was just to the races. Like when I finally started to record it, it was just it just came out. To be very honest, what you heard was a second. recording of it. Like I changed a little bit of stuff around, like changed the key and the groove of it a little bit, because when I first recorded it, didn't come out so well. And then I actually took off a little bit of time. Like I had recorded most of, like, 80% of the track by, like, I started it. I did it in like 2 weeks, and it was like in April. But I had to take a little bit of time because I felt like it was missing something, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But then I bought a keyboard, and then I hit up my friend Gabby, she is incredible. Gabby Rose, incredible. Like, she really hit on like, me and her really blended well on this song. I'm glad I was able to get her on it. She really she really pushes the narrative of that song that I was really trying to put. Like, it's about relationships and how relationships can, like, be toxic. And the narrative was like, I was the first verse and the last verse, and the first verse and the last verse the same thing, but the second and third verse is coming from the woman's perspective. And, like, I was struggling a little bit to think, to fig to see if I really wanted that, like, because it's my first single, and I'm not sure if I want to feature anybody on my first single. It's a selfish side of it, but then at the end of the day, it's not about me; it's about the song, which is what I ultimately decided and concluded.
I think a lot of great tunes over the last couple of years for me have had a man and a woman just trading vocals, having vocal interplay, vocal chemistry.
Hmm.
A lot of recent new pornographer songs do that incredibly well. And I just love seeing that. The different tones, the different melodies, voice parts. The different ranges. I guess is the better word.
Hmm.
I love that, and it definitely comes across well on Warzone. It's almost like you guys have been recording for years.
Thank you. Yeah, it really felt natural to me with the play between me and her. And she actually did that at her house, because COVID. Like, everything was done. All of my recording was done in my basement, and then I just sent that over to her. The beauty of technology, to be very honest, you can just send shit over, and then they can send back their part, and then you can just mesh it all together.
So you
Like,
did this during the outbreak, or
yeah, I
okay?
did. I did it in April. Like, I had nothing else better to do except, like, really start recording. Like, it wasn't at the beginning, like, because the quarantine happened like mid-March or something like that. Ticker Tape, one of my other bands, actually played a show like March 13th
Oh shit!
in the city, at
Oh great!
Otto's Shrunken Head. And then,
Oh
like,
great spot.
yeah, and like a couple of days later, it was like, quarantine, everyone stay in. And we were like, oh, that was pretty bad. We probably could have gotten infected. but but yeah, grace of God, grace of the universe, we are all healthy. Um, yeah, after the first week and a half, 2 weeks of quarantine, I really couldn't play anything because my thumb was fucked up from playing so much. Playing so much guitar, and I was trying to. This year was really me coming out on solo stuff because I felt confident. I felt confident in myself this year to actually do it because I had really nothing else to lose at this point. And yeah, I couldn't really play because of whatever. But then after that, my left thumb he was healed up. It was just off to the races. Like, I I recorded that song with um Karma Ray. I have that on my SoundCloud. I've always loved. I love. I showed you that, and I know you're not about that, but like, I've always loved her because she's a good friend, and I loved her music, and especially loved that song. And, like, I really wanted that. If it wasn't for doing that song, I don't think Warzone would have came out as rockin' as it did.
So a lot of the initial proceeds from Warzone went to UNICEF to
Yeah.
help with the crisis down in Yemen.
Yes.
How much do you think that helped?
Anything, man, anything helps. I actually got 170 for the audience out there that's listening. I got 170 profit from everyone that donated to the song that first day, the launch day, because it was released exclusively on Bandcamp, and Bandcamp waived all of their artist fees that first Friday of every month. So that's why I launched it exclusively on there, and I matched it to bring it up to 340. And all donated to UNICEF Yemen, and like I said, any bit of money helps out that cause over there because they've been struggling for years. They've been struggling for years, and it's really bad. It's gotten worse, of course, because of COVID. They had um, it's a civil war out there. It they had bouts with malaria, I believe.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
it's 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 hard. It's hard. Like people are have nowhere to live. Their houses are like crumpled. It's just dust, and they're hungry. It's sad. It's sad, and like because of like it's uh the situation there, like because of the civil war, and it looks like a war zone. That's why I ended up donating to that cause.
And before you mentioned that Warzone kind of reflects on relationships,
Hmm.
but for me, I'm listening, especially the times we're living right now. It almost comes across as you're talking about society in general,
Yep.
no? Or are you trying to focus on something specific thematically?
It was specific thematically with the relationship. Not that you're wrong with how everything, like especially right now. Again, with the ruling of Breonna Taylor, it's just fucking bullshit.
Oh, forget
Um,
it. That's another 6 hour podcast.
yeah, man. The song literally came out of the relationship that I was in at the moment. And I'm not saying anything that it's bad on her. Like we both had our shit, but it was really a reflection on myself. Like this song was really a reflection on myself when I was writing it. I was trying to look from her perspective and see like what she was dealing with, and I'm not playing holier than thou. Like I'm not void of sin, but yeah, that was really the main core of the song.
How do you think? And you said you've raised a decent amount of money from the initial proceeds of this. So how do you think Bandcamp Day, Bandcamp Friday, whatever people are calling it, has helped you and Medicine Fish in general?
It's helped. Like I I would do it so often if I had more singles. And not more singles, but like just more material in general. Like that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to get more material by the end of the year to just release onto Bandcamp, because that thing, Bandcamp Fridays is such a good way to help out local artists and whatnot. Like it was just from the beginning of it all. Um, not
It's
only
like, yeah, go ahead.
not only just Medicine Fish and Biasby stuff, but like our friends Defunct Tone. I know I splurged a lot on the beginning, like March, April, like the first beginnings of when they first started it, like the first 2 months. Like my cousin, my cousin is String Player Gamer, who's a YouTube artist. He does a lot of covers of video game music themes. He's released albums, and I'm guessing it's helped him too. Like I know I bought his Persona 5 album because that is such a good game. I love that game, and he does everything himself as well. I was actually so impressed with what he's been doing, like from jump. He's worked a long way from where he's come from the Philippines.
Yeah, and I love Bandcamp and what they're doing. Especially, it's a good platform to help like Black artists too.
Yes.
It's just because there's so many great, you know, artists that are not actually there are more artists that aren't famous and are famous that are on Bandcamp, and a lot of them are people of color. and I think it's been a great outlet for them because I've talked to a few black artists that love Bandcamp and that have really helped them. So
Hmm.
I'm so glad they're doing this throughout the end of the year. So hopefully we see more Biasby tunes or even
Yeah,
more Medicine Fish tunes on there, so I can help, you know, give money to you guys directly. You know.
yeah. That's what Bandcamp does that like Spotify and Apple Music don't do, because they're not really for the artists. Tidal is a bit different because they were made by artists for artists, but it's still not like direct as it's not as direct as Bandcamp is.
Yeah, I guess with Tidal, maybe it's more likely to trickle down because I remember before Nipsey Hussle passed, he posted a picture, but he quickly took it down of how much money he gets from Apple, Spotify, and Tidal. And Tidal had he got the most money from Tidal, which is says a lot.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I think with streaming services, it's the labels make the most money than the artists do. But Bandcamp, it goes right to you. Like if I right now buy Warzone for $20, you get $20. You know what I'm saying? That's
Exactly.
gas money for you right there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, or like money just to fund the mixing for the next shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, you've engineered Warzone. So, tell me about having your hands in your own work as opposed to having hired help from the engineering standpoint.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard as fuck. It's hard as fuck because like you're the only person that's doing this shit. I had to I had to finagle a lot of shit myself. Like at first the first time I recorded the guitar, like I put it in like a little corner and closed it off with like uh, moving blankets, and it was alright, but you know I ended up putting it under my stairs, which stairs of wood, and wood resonates sound really well. And because it's stairs, it's like the staggered shit of stairs like really diffuses the sound. That's what my friend Brandon told me today, and I'm going to use that on the podcast. Um, Speaking of Brandon from Dysfunctone, my guys, we were actually just recording a little something something right before I got onto the podcast.
Is
So
it a BSB song or a Medicine
it's
Fish tune?
it's a cover song. Who knows where who knows if it's gonna be under Biasby or if it's gonna be under something else. But it's just a little fun thing. Like we were supposed to do this a little bit of ago, but life is hard in a global pandemic, and things just get pushed to the side because of priorities, and that's all good because we got nothing but time. But it's sounding really well right now. It's going really well, and excited to share it when it gets done. I'm not gonna. It's a cover. I'll say that much. It's not an
All right.
original,
Okay.
but yeah,
Um,
Bandcamp is what's up. Like I'll always rep Bandcamp more than Spotify and Apple Music because like it helps build indie artists, and that's what a majority, especially because the music industry is so it's suffering right now. All we have is ourselves. I'm pretty sure a lot of if they're not, that's okay because like it's hard to have any motivation when we're jobless and we're in a fucking global pandemic. But those that are able to find that muster up that shit to record stuff and put it out, I won't be surprised if there's like a billion things coming within the next year, um, or next year trip around the sun from this point. Because yo, it's been a long 6 months.
oh, tell me about it. Is this cover a Queens of the Stone Age
No,
song?
no,
No. Okay.
no.
Because I was
I'll.
talking with John. I think he brought up the fact that you might have done something in that regard.
Oh no, I will. I will. There is something that's coming that's going to be a Queens of Stone Age cover. It's a B side, and John was on it as a little bit of a solo thing. But I just got to get back to it because I've been.
Is it the fun machine took a shit and died?
No, no, no,
No.
no, no. It's something cooler. You
Okay.
gotta smoke a cigarette to that, and with some shades on
Okay.
outside of like CBGBs.
All
back in
right,
the day.
all right. So you kind of Dave Grohl'd this song. You did like all the instruments.
Yeah, yeah.
So when shows eventually come back, how does Warzone or Biasby look from a live perspective?
I don't know yet. Um, I know I have a drummer in mind, at least, who's actually on this cover track that me and Brandon are doing. Um, Josh is my guy. I've always had much respect for him. Um, I played with him, jammed with him a couple of times, and asked him at the beginning to do this song with us. And so that's one person. If I can't get him, I don't really know because drummers are really hard to come by that are reliable. Like that's what happens with experimental soul. Ha!
Wow, I like what you did there. Cheap plug.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm in 6 projects. I got a name mention. Got to
You
mention some
son of
shit.
a bitch.
Like all of them, like Thaddeus Low too. Both of those projects have had drummer struggles a little bit. Like, and it's more about experimental soul with that. But like, yeah, drummers and not just drummers. Let's not say drummers. Let's say reliable musicians are hard to come by in general because when you get to the age that we are, like when you're past 30, it's more about how you're going to survive, you know. And if you're not making much money off of playing shows, you have to you're prioritizing what will be making money, and sometimes it's just not that, and you don't have that time to rehearse all the time. And if you don't have that time to rehearse, the band's not going to sound as good as it should. But I do have people in mind besides myself. Speaking of experimental soul, Charles, the frontman of experimental soul, I'd probably tag him to be part of it, because me and him can trade off guitar and bass if we wanted to. John, if he's up to it, I'm not really sure because he's a busy man himself. He and I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really sure. At this point right now, I'm more focused on like just solo acoustic Biasby. If there's I'll focus more on live band when the LP comes out. The LP won't be out for a while, but I'm still just trying to scrape the ideas out of the ice cream jar that I have them in.
Yeah, and also on Warzone, you kind of traded guitars with John Astronaut Velser,
Yes,
and
sir.
I remember the early Medicine Fit shows. It was just that. It was
Yes,
you two
sir.
on guitar, and it's kind of just not necessarily nostalgic, almost like a retrospective of
Mm-hmm.
your musical journey over the last decade.
Which is why I felt it necessary for him to be on that track. Necessary because a funny story about me and him trading off, especially in the beginning. The beginning, when I first tagged him to record it and he was down for it, I turned off that my take in the intro, and what he did like was perfect to what I played because there are times where we like crisscross at certain notes that we're hitting at the same time, which is like totally part of like the narrative of a relationship, like how like if a toxic relationship, like how sometimes you're on the same page but most of the time you're not, and it's just crisscross me and him crisscross through it. And like i gotta say to I gotta say, like, because I've been with in a band with John for so long, most of those riffs that I've done were really influenced through him. And like I don't think I'd be as good of a guitar player because I don't practice as much. I don't think I'd be as good of a guitar player if I wasn't in a band listening to how he plays.
Yeah, and I think that I think Ja will echo that. I think he's inspired by you guys. I think that's why he likes to practice with y'all so much because he gets inspired by just being around you guys and being around the people that he cares about that he cares about and that also have like creative visions even if they're not music.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. So 20 years ago, a band we both love dropped an
Yes.
album.
Mm-hmm.
Queens of the Stone Age is rated R.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think this album holds up, and where do you put them amongst the others?
Ooh, shit.
Yeah, I knew this would get you. I knew this
uh,
would get you.
I love the question. To be, I was literally about to put that album on, um, while waiting, while setting up with Brandon today. Um, ended up putting on a OK Computer, but oh, that was a more. I think rated R was really, or rated X if you're part of the cool people club. Um, I think that album was really the turning point. Like you saw the change. Like it's really interesting to call the second album a turning point, but like you could really see the it's like the bridge between um the self-titled album and Songs for the Deaf. Like it was because their self-titled was just borderline metal, man, so
Exactly.
heavy.
There was a lot
And
of Caius runoff on that.
yeah, and then rated R was like they're really a departure from that sound in general. Like it wasn't as heavy. It was more melodic, a lot more melodic, a
Yes.
lot more like, especially like Autopilot really really mm, just not Autopilot, I'm sorry. A Better Living Through Chemistry.
Ooh,
That
man.
that song really is the song of that album, I think.
And I liked I think I lost my headache. That's oh man.
That
That song
end
is remarkable.
Yeah, the ending with the horn sometimes actually gave me a headache when I was first listening to it when
I
yeah, I'm like
love that.
yeah,
Love it.
it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm just prone to headaches real easily. When I first started listening to them, you know, I I I started listening to Queens of the Stone Age. I think 11th grade, 12th grade. I was a little late to coming to it. I had to ask my friend Charles like if they were good because I only knew No One Knows, and that's like the one song that everyone knows by Queens of the Stone Age, and go with the flow a little bit. But the one thing that's always stuck to me from Queens was that music video for No One Knows. That's the first thing that I like, and to this day, like it's stuck in my head. A deer
Yep. Mhm.
kidnapping other dudes,
It's
having them
just
on the hood of a jeep, bringing their heads back to the cabin. Like what
I mean, like
the
I
fuck?
think when it comes to this band, like the first time I came across them was Tony Hawk's Underground soundtrack, and it was
Right.
Millionaire. But the thing is, Josh wasn't singing, so I couldn't really put a voice to the band just yet
Uh
because
huh.
I think the former bassist Nick Oliveri was doing the vocals for that, and and then years later I heard All Sixes and Sevens and Guitar Hero 3.
Mm.
I just couldn't because Josh has a lot of like guests on his song, so
Mm-hmm.
it took a while for me to put the voice to the band. So I couldn't really quote unquote get into them, but I was familiar with the group. And then you know, years ago when around when Like Clockwork was about to come out, and I heard about them Crooked Vultures and all that stuff.
Uh.
I'm like, okay, this band is something. Yeah, but I think Rated R just it holds it's a very special album, at least for that band, a good turning point for them, a turning point in like rock music around that time too, because it was very dominated by a lot of like new metal stuff and the Limp Bizkits and the Kid Rocks and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, they were kind of like an outlier because they were not following any trends, and they were always a chameleon, and that iconic album cover, and I have the sweatshirt. It's just amazing.
Yeah, have you seen the Rated X?
Oh yeah, the Raid X stuff is great. It
No,
has the that
Ode to
their
Clarissa.
oh yes, and
That's the
Born
bonus
to
track.
Hula. Born to Hula's on there too.
But I'm talking about like the actual artwork.
Yeah, it's great. It's red and has the X on it.
Um,
It's like the
um,
rated R cover.
oh man, I actually, whoo, dude. So remember when last year when they announced the re-release
Yeah.
of all of their shit?
Yep.
Um, I ended up going to right after pre-ordering. Like I went to Mr. Cheapo's. Like sometimes I get these urges, so these calls while I'm driving, just to go there, and
Same.
I haven't gone there recently because like I have enough vinyl, one, and two, I just haven't got those calls. Like, but one of those times where I got those calls, I went, and Q is usually the spot where I always look in, and I found the rated X.
Same.
I found rated X on vinyl, and I saw the inside of like the inside cover of it, and I can tell I can tell you why it was never released like that because
Okay.
it's I gotta show you sometime. It's
Yeah. I gotta see this.
really pornographic.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
It
It goes with it
it
comes
fits
with the
their shit.
territory.
Yeah, of course. 'Cause it's it's Josh Homme and Queens of the Stone Age, like that first that alternate cover of their self titled. You
Yeah,
know,
I have that.
I have that too. It's the it doesn't have the bronze or
These droids,
these are
yep,
not the droids you're looking for.
yep. Mhm.
Those were included on the re-release, which I got off eBay for $70, but I had to have it.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I'm crazy, and like it's a red. I gotta show you. It's cool, but I think rated R compared to where it stands with all the other albums, I would say I would say third out of all of them.
Hmm.
Like Songs for the Deaf is number one. Number two. I don't know if you'll agree with me, but Era Vulgaris.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I love Era Vulgaris. Like the besides Run Pig Run, because I really don't fuck with that song. But
Turning on
Era
the screw. That's a great one.
Sick is what like it's if I'm in the car, if I'm driving and 666 comes on my shuffle, I I I hope there's the passenger is ready for for
Yeah.
some from like 0 to 100.
And
Like
Misfit Love is also good.
yeah, man. I'm a designer,
Oh,
dude. We can keep on name dropping these songs, man.
that's like it's my least favorite album of theirs, but it's
Really,
by anybody's album standards, it's good. It's pretty good.
I think my least favorite is Lullabies, and it actually has one of my favorite songs on it.
And I
In my
love
as you
Lullaby.
know, in my head is probably my favorite.
Dude,
Was top 3 favorite songs from Queens.
I was just listening to it before
Yeah,
we
you were
talked.
saying that, and I
Yeah,
was like, I was hearing you singing. I was like, oh
yeah,
man, he knows, he
yeah.
knows.
It's my jam. That's my fucking jam. There was a live album that came out around that time.
Through the Woods.
Yes, phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
There's a version of Mexicola on that album that's just remarkable.
You played
Remarkable.
Mexico for us when you were on at the Kingsborough.
Yeah, the Alternative Avenue. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got that was my first ever interview, medicine
Really?
session
That's
ever.
right. Oh
Yep.
shit.
Hmm.
Look at you
I will
now.
never forget it. We went to Shake Shack after. It's a great
Oh
day.
yeah.
It was around this time too, like late
Yeah.
September-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Time flies.
Holy shit. Yeah, 6 years. Oh my goodness. Good times. Well, Biasby is the project name. Julian Maultsby is the name.
Allah.
Warzone is the song. Go listen to it. Buy it on Bandcamp. Listen to it on Spotify, wherever you listen to music. Anything else, Julian, you want to add?
Uh, Make sure that you always tell your loved ones that you love them, no matter how you feel, no matter what you've gone through recently, because life is short.
Ooh, yeah. You ain't lying. Where can people follow you on
On
Facebook, Twitter,
everything:
Instagram? Okay.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Pornhub, XWire,
I hate you guys.
Spankwire, LimeWire, FrostWire, PSN,
Kaza.
Keep on going. Like I'm
Yep.
on everything. If you search Biasby, like there's not that many people with Biasby, you know. And I'm very happy that there's not that many people with Biasby because it's pretty unique. It's a combination of my middle name, which is not really a middle name. It's my mom's last name and my dad's last name. The last three letters, Sarabia, Bia, Maultsby, Sby.
Perfect.
Biasby, because I carry the weight of both families with me everywhere I go. Because I come from really really strong family lines, and
Powerful stuff.
I'm proud of both of them.
As you should be. Julian, thank you so much for being on my little underground, man.
Love you,
Appreciate it.
kid. Love you. Thank you for having me. I can't
All
wait
right,
for the
brother.
next time.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Peace.